This date, 1 year ago, U.S. President Barack Obama visited Kenya, and during his visit, expectations were high. Meetings upon meetings were held and deals were announced.
It has just been a cat and mouse game. Nobody has been prosecuted for that.
We agreed to continue to engage one another so that we can strengthen what is already a robust relationship.
In this show, we ask what has changed so far.
The extension of visas to 5 years for both Kenyans and Americans, which actually has had quite a dramatic impact.
Also in this program, meet the Kenyans who picked up the entrepreneurial spirit from President Obama's visit. We have a case study from Makueni, a solar-powered water project.
We got a grant from Power Africa Challenge.
And in Kangemi, meet a woman who is making briquettes from waste.
Our raw materials from here are animal waste, food waste and charcoal dust.
Welcome to the show. I'm your host, Alex Chamwada. But first, here is our fact sheet.
Ladies and gentlemen, the
President Barack Obama is the 44th President of the United States of America. He came into office on the 20th of January 2009. His administration comes to an end on the 20th of January 2017. As of July 2016, President Obama had made 49 international trips to 55 different countries. The country he has visited the most is France, 6 times. In Africa, the U.S. President has visited 7 countries, namely Kenya, Tanzania, Ethiopia, South Africa, Ghana, Senegal, and Egypt. He visited Kenya as president from 24th to 26th July 2015, and one of the highlights during the visit was a joint press conference with President Uhuru Kenyatta at State House, Nairobi.
We will extend student and business visas for up to 5 years for Kenyans traveling to the United States and for Americans traveling to Kenya. This will make it easier for university students to complete their studies and for businesses to make long-term plans.
Yes, one of the agreements that may resonate well with many Kenyans was that regarding the extension of U.S. visas given to Kenyans to 5 years from a maximum of 1 year.
That was probably the simplest and the easiest to implement. It just required the diplomatic relationships of the two countries to be re-engineered in terms of documentation to allow that to happen.
Our relations, of course, are more than just government to government. Our ties are business, academic, cultural, and people to people. And they're deep, strong, and growing. More Kenyans than ever are traveling to the United States. And more than 100,000 Americans visit Kenya each year to enjoy your extraordinary and beautiful country.
However, direct flights between Kenya and the U.S. have yet to be implemented.
Our governments are also working to launch direct flights between Kenya and the United States as soon as possible.
The other key agreements were security-related.
Today, we discussed deepening our security cooperation. As part of our security governance initiative, our governments signed an action plan yesterday in which we'll support Kenya's efforts to strengthen its judiciary, police, and border security.
Now, during the U.S. Independence Anniversary celebrations held at the residence of the U.S. Ambassador to Kenya on the 12th of July 2016, Ambassador Bob Godek sought to highlight some of the achievements in the security sector.
We're sharing information, we're providing equipment, we're doing things in the specific area of border security. We also signed an agreement on a partnership between the Kenya Defense Forces and the Massachusetts National Guard. Our National Guards do a lot of things in the United States. They obviously help protect the states during emergencies and crises. They help to deal with disaster management, for example.
The leader of the majority in the National Assembly, Aden Duale, who represented the Kenyan government during the celebrations, said progress had been made in securing borders.
I wish to assure you of Kenya's commitment to do all within its powers and means diligently to protect our citizens and the international community hosted in Kenya.
Just before the American president's visit here, there was a lot of, terrorist attack, and we were really targets one after the other. But I'm not saying that that has been resolved completely, but I think through the involvement of the US government, I think probably the intelligence that is being passed is quite useful in trying to stem any of such attacks.
Good morning, Madam President, Your Honors.
By the time President Obama was visiting Kenya, the crimes against humanity case against President Uhuru Kenyatta at the Hague-based International Criminal Court had been terminated due to lack of sufficient evidence. But that against Deputy President William Ruto was still on. The Hague cases had brought a diplomatic tiff between the two nations. Now, things have changed.
This matter is slowly getting the hind seat, and with that, the relationship of the two countries is also improving.
When it comes to trade, just what has changed?
America has become the third largest importer of Kenyan goods. The AGOA opportunity has really driven the export of our textiles. And this has helped us diversify our markets as a country significantly.
Kenya again this year qualified under the AGOA because it's a yearly program. So that too is open, so businesses, and specifically some businesses in the EPZs, but also other businesses that have been exporting to the US on the concession that the US provided, based on clearance that comes and approval that comes from the President of the United States every year, that has been provided. So obviously that facility is still open.
But the bad thing is that the Kenya government, as a beneficiary, has not put in place instruments or mechanisms through which it can now benefit more from AGOA. I'm not saying nothing completely is being done, but by now we should be hearing more about traders or businessmen being trained or inducted on how best to trade through the new renewed AGOA extension.
In terms of tangible data, this is how the US ambassador summarized the impact of the deals that were agreed upon.
We invested more than 80 billion Kenya shillings to accelerate Kenyan economic growth, deepen devolution, expand education, protect wildlife, and much more. We provided more than 900,000 Kenyans with antiretroviral drugs, fed 500,000 Kenyan school children each day, and assisted more than 1 million farmers to grow better produce.
However, observers say there is some unfinished business in the area of governance and anti-corruption as well as human rights.
We have had very serious corruption issues relating to the NYS. And when you remember when Obama came, if I were to relate it to his visit, one of the major issues that he had was the youth agenda.
With the joint commitment we've agreed to today, the United States will offer advice and technical assistance to support Kenya as it takes additional steps to increase transparency and accountability and to strengthen institutions that fight corruption. So we're making important commitments, and now we need to work together to fulfill them. Because if Kenya can put in place the habits and institutions of good governance, it can help unleash even greater growth and investment and prosperity for the Kenyan people. And that'll be good for everybody.
Despite the challenges, it is argued that Kenya's brand globally has grown.
All of us now can believe that the security situation in the country has significantly improved that from where we were at that time. And that's why tourism is bouncing back, because the security. That's why global companies are setting their headquarters. Why the situations for us, particularly at Equity Bank, we received the 20 billion shillings for the SME, and we have disbursed already 16 billion. And lastly, we have seen American companies bouncing back. We have now IBM at its headquarters here. We have now General Electric as its headquarters here for Africa. We have Visa and MasterCard there. So essentially, a lot has happened since then. The world has accepted Kenya. The media narrative in the global media about Kenya has dramatically changed. That is the brand. And this is where, Chamwada, I think we need to really confront reality as Kenyans. How comes The world has believed more in Kenya than we have believed in ourselves.
After President Obama's visit to Kenya, the next high-profile visit was that of Pope Francis, the current Pope of the Roman Catholic Church. Kenya was his first stop in November 2015 on his first trip to Africa. And here is a flashback of some of the other global leaders who have visited Kenya in the past 1 year.
Lovely to have you in Nairobi. Yeah? And we are happy to have you.
Thanks the President very much and his team, firstly for inviting me and some of my cabinet members to come to Kenya.
It is interesting to note that a year later, exactly a year later, we have the UNCTAD conference happening, which is also focusing on trade, but also entrepreneurship and innovation. This is significant because a year ago, the current Secretary General, Mukisha Kitui, told us that let's pick up issues on the Obama visit and a year later try and raise them in this conference to see whether or not they have benefited the country. So right now, I think it's very important to take stock of what Obama said or did or signed with what is happening, or whether we are just reinventing the wheels.
We now take a short break. When we return, I'll tell you about some of the beneficiaries of the Global Entrepreneurship Summit. I'm in Kangemi, so we'll pick an example from here and another example from Makueni County. Don't go away. Welcome back. We are looking at the impact of US President Barack Obama's visit to Kenya a year on. And in this second part of the show, we will focus on two ordinary Kenyans who picked up the spirit of entrepreneurship as it was preached during President Obama's visit to Kenya, and how the relationship between the two countries has impacted on their businesses. We will begin with one who is based here in Kangemi, Ruth Wangari, who makes briquettes from waste. Let's see what happens in her compound. Yes, hi Ruth. This is your place?
Yeah, this is my place.
Ah, fantastic. Potea. This is where you make your briquettes?
Yeah, this is where you make our briquettes.
Sawa,
Yeah.
then you will take us through the process, Santi.
Here we have a production site for briquettes made from animal waste, food waste and charcoal dust. We go to the charcoal vendors outside there. We collect the charcoal dust from them. Sometimes we are given free and other times we buy. Then we come around, we have a cow and some of our neighbors have cows. We go there and we collect the cow dung from them. We bring it, we have a dumping area where we have, and we burn it from there and we start carbonizing it from there. We mix our raw materials with the soil, and of course there's water to make it light, and then we bring it to the machine. The machine grinds by itself. Okay, it can grind by itself, and that is the process of making the briquettes. After that, we just package them. We put them in bunny bags, we package and we send it to the market. Briquettes are better than ordinary charcoal for one or two reasons. One, it is environmental friendly. We've already carbonized it, so there is no smoke, no carbon that is going to be generated from the briquettes. So it's clean, very clean. Again, one more advantage of briquettes is they burn longer than ordinary charcoal. Briquettes burn for between 3 to 4 hours, while ordinary charcoal is about 45 to 50 minutes and it's gone.
You are a beneficiary of We Create, which is an America-Kenya deal or an initiative by Americans. How did you benefit from that?
From We Create, I learned that any form of idea can be transformed into a business. And that is how I started transforming this into a business.
We Create is a fantastic program an initiative to grow a global network of women entrepreneurial community centers. The key thing about this is we're creating a safe environment for women to come design, test, and build a business, but also address gender-based issues and challenges women may have through economic empowerment as the lens to change the perceptions of how those are dealt with.
Go through the business model.
We do not invest in businesses here, cash. What we invest is mentorship. So we have built a global, a national network of mentors and coaches that are trained and certified on the Startup Cup methodology of how to grow entrepreneurs and how to design business models and how to move business forward. So if a woman out there is looking to start a business or has started a business and is looking for a place to help them move that to the next level or build that business, this is the place.
It's been great because one thing, I can do a few things for myself. At least I can pay my rent. I can do I'm earning some little money that is really helping me move forward. At least my children are back to school, and I'm in position to employ about 3 or 4 people that we are working with together on a daily basis. And need be, I am always in position to hire more when need be. I remember Obama's message, and the key thing here is you personally put a dent into the universe. Yes. Put a dent into the universe, do something, make a change, make a difference. You can do it.
From Kangemi, we move to Makueni County to understand how solar power is transforming lives in villages thanks to President Barack Obama's Power Africa initiative. Michael Wanyonyi, the founder of Mibawa, an energy and water company, is a beneficiary of funding that has now been injected into a water and lighting project in Mala village.
This is one of our solar pumping projects. It consists of 12 panels of 100 watts powering a 1.4 kilowatt pump, which powers directly a 1.4 kilowatt pump. This pump delivers 20,000 liters in a day to those the school and the community, and it's been doing it well. Now it's been running for about 6 months without any problem.
Kufua nguo ilikuwa siku ya kwenda kufua nguo, hizi kubeba mitungi uende ufue nguo, ubebe mitungi ulete nyumbani. Tulikuwa tunaenda siku nzima. Unatoa siku nzima unaenda unafua nguo kwa mto. Na uwezi kubeba zikiwa na maji, unangojea zikauke ndio ulete. Inakubidi siku mzima iwe ni ya kufua nguo. Sasa imetusaidia kwa sababu maji iko hapa karibu. Unachota tu kwa saa moja, kama ni hapa nachota mibuyu kama 10, 20 nafua nguo hapa tu. Na inakuwa ni afadhali, hata malipo inakuwa ni mzuri, sio pesa nyingi, shilingi 3 kwa mtungi mmoja, inakuwa ni very good. Kuku sana zinahitaji maji. Na kama hakuna maji huwezi kuwa na kuku. Kuku ikikula chakula kidogo, maji. Kidogo, maji. Na hiyo maji ukiweka for 3 hours, inastahili uchenje nyingine uweke nyingine. Inakuwa na chafu ndani.
One time our student would be forced to go to the river. When the borehole succeeded, now we have water. There is a tank there for the girls hostel, and they are using the water. There is the boys hostel there. They are using the water, and it's quite a relief. And in fact, we are watering continuously the agricultural plots for the candidates 2016, and to follow for the other candidates the years which follow.
The uniqueness of a solar pumping system is that it has just one initial cost and there is no running cost. So once you purchase the pump and the solar panel and the inverter or the controller, that's it, and there's very minimal servicing. The benefit we got from GS was that we got a grant. We participated in a Power Africa Challenge and we won a grant of $100,000 US, which is 10 million Kenya shillings. And also we were able to get a loan of of 5 million or 50,000 US dollars, which has helped us in putting in our working capital.
There are now more solar-powered companies in Kenya, and these are basically benefiting the rural areas. I think you go to rural areas and you find a lot of street lamps. They may not be totally supported by the American government, but the provision of this has an element of the Power Africa program.
Our preliminary goal was 10,000 megawatts. Now we're looking at 30,000 megawatts, and we're well on our way. Some of those megawatts are going to be generated by very traditional power plants and the traditional financing and large-scale capital. But part of what all these folks represent is the creativity of recognizing that there are going to be a lot of ways of generating power and a lot of different distribution mechanisms.
Countrywide, what has been your impact?
Okay, so far since we started, across Kenya we've done 30,000 home lighting system, putting a family having an average of 4 people. We've directly impacted over 100,000 people in Kenya, and we've done around 300 borehole pumping systems, and impacting many people. We can't even quantify.
Umuhimu wa hii sababu kwamba situmii pesa mingi kununua mafuta. Hii nikilipa 150 kwa wiki. Ni hivyo natumia, naona haina madhara yote kusoma. Mafuta tani nilikuwa natumia kama 200 kwa wiki.
With that, we come to the end of the show. We are glad you found time to be with us. And on behalf of the crew, thank you so much for watching. We now leave you with some sights and sounds about President Barack Obama's visit to Kenya a year ago. Bye-bye for now.
Any nation that fails to educate its girls or employ its women and allowing them to maximize their potential is doomed to fall behind in the global economy. You know, we're in a sports center. Imagine if you have a team and you don't let half of the team play. That's stupid. That makes no sense.